Hi everyone, Jason here at the Whittier Public Library with our latest STEAM-powered science take-home science activity. Today we actually have two different activities for you, and they are both very spooky. Well, they're not really very spooky, but we're going to try and give them a little bit of a Halloween twist. So today our two activities are, we have a straw wrapper zombie, where we're going to teach you how to make a straw wrapper come to life. And we have an index card ghost, where we are going to teach you how to turn into a ghost and pass through a solid object that is an index card. There's no way you could fit through this index card, right? But we're going to show you how to pass through that, just like a ghost would. So let's get started. Hopefully you picked up one of our kits at the library, in which case you have just about everything you need. You will need to supply a couple things yourself, but most of what you need is going to be included. So you'll need a straw. I gave you a couple, so in case things get messed up, you'll still have a spare. You will need a regular index card. I used a 4x6 index card. A little bit bigger gives you a little bit more space, but a 3x5 could work as well. So there's index cards you're going to need. That's what you're going to get from the library. You also need to supply your own scissors. You might need something like a little plate or a placemat or a little plastic tub or something like this just to hold a little bit of water so your water doesn't spill all over your table. You're also going to need a little bit of water. Here's a glass of water. And that's really all you're going to need today. And we're going to show you how to do two different experiments today. So let's get started with our first one, which is going to be our zombie straw wrapper. Okay, so for your zombie straw wrapper, you're going to need a straw wrapped in paper, which I have provided for you, or you can use your own. So what you're going to need to do here is you're going to need to unwrap the straw very carefully. You're going to want to slide the paper in toward the center like this. Keep going, make sure it doesn't rip too much. Okay, we've got that. And then we're going to keep going toward the center, and we're going to crush it up together completely as much as we possibly can. See that? Okay, we've got it all crushed together, right? Okay, now we're going to slide that off the straw, like so. Okay, now we're going to take this crushed up straw wrapper, and we are going to put that in our little plastic tub or on a plate, on a placemat, whatever you're going to do to keep your table from getting wet. Now we're going to go to a close-up to show you what you need to do next. Okay, so let's give our zombie straw wrapper a try and see if we can get this to work and make it come alive. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of our straws and we're going to crumple the straw wrapper up in the middle as tight as we can. Peel it, and push it in really tight. As tight as you possibly can. Push from one side, push from the other side. We get a nice crinkled up straw wrapper here. Then we're going to pull it right off. And we're going to put it here in our dish so that our water doesn't spill. Next, we're going to take our straw. We're going to dunk it in the water. We're going to put our finger over the end. That will cause some water to stay in the straw. Then we're going to bring it over here. We're going to put a couple drips right on that straw wrapper. Get the couple parts that haven't wiggled yet. Try a little bit on this end and maybe on the other end. And watch it wiggle like a worm. Okay, we're back. So how'd your zombie straw wrapper turn out? Did it come to life? Did it wiggle and squirm like a worm? Hopefully it did. Okay, now we're ready to move on to our next experiment. So our next experiment is going to be our index card ghost. Now, as we know, we can't pass through solid objects, right? We have no way to pass through this index card. Number one, it's solid, so we can't go through it. And number two, we're just too big. We can't fit through this. This is maybe about a little bit smaller than my face. So there's no way I could fit my whole body through this, right? But we are going to show you how to fit your whole body through this, like maybe a ghost would. So it's actually going to involve a special form of cutting. You're not going to turn yourself into a ghost, but you're going to learn how to cut this in such a way that you can pass all the way through it. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to go ahead and go to a close-up now, and I'm going to show you the cuts you need to make. Make sure to follow these directions very carefully. I gave you a couple of extra index cards in case you mess up, because it is kind of easy to mess this one up. So you might take a couple tries, but if you follow the directions very carefully, it should work for you. Okay, so now it's time for the index card ghost. We are going to teach you how to cut this index card in a special way so that you can pass right through it as if you were a ghost. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to fold this in half, this long direction. If you went to preschool or even in elementary school, your teacher might have referred to this as a hot dog fold. So we're going to do a hot dog fold here. Oh, not a very good one. Let me see if I can fix that. Okay, that's a pretty good fold. I've got it folded in half. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start not from the open side, but from the folded side, the connected side. I'm going to make two cuts, about 1/4 of an inch from the edge here, going this way. And I want to cut almost to all the way to the end, but not to the end. Leave a little bit of paper at the end. So if you watch, I'm going to cut like that. I'm going to stop right about there. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side here. I'm going to cut. Sorry if my hand's in the way, but not all the way. You notice these are still connected here. Now I'm going to unfold this. I'm going to fold these down so I don't accidentally cut them. See, they're folded down now. And then I'm going to cut across the fold. If you fold it up a little, that might help you cut more accurately. Cut all the way down the fold. There we go. All right. Now let's go ahead and fold this back up again as if it was the, flip that around. Okay. As if it was the original fold. You see that? Now it's back to the original fold. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a series of cuts parallel to these cuts, meaning it's going to run alongside them. And we're going to want to make them maybe about 1/4 of an inch wide. Don't worry too much about being exact, but don't make them real wide. Try to make them pretty narrow. And what you're going to do is you're going to alternate the direction of the cuts. So the first cut is going to go the opposite direction. So you see this one started here and went this way. So this one we're going to start here. We're going to go this way, but each time we're not going to cut quite to the end, right? So let me show you here. So this cut here, we're going to go all the way, but not quite to the end, right? See that? Now we need to go back the other direction, this way. So we're going to flip it around, and we're going to make another cut right here, going the other direction. Just like that. Again, don't cut all the way to the end. Make sure you leave a little flap of paper there at the end. We're going to flip it back, and we're going to cut this way. Boom. Good. Again, not cut all the way to the end. Now we're going to keep doing this. I'm going to go ahead and go into speed this up so you can see the whole cutting process, but you don't have to sit here and watch me make all these cuts very slowly. So here we go. Okay, so now we're done with our cut. So what we're going to do now is we're going to lay that down flat again, and we're going to unfold it. Try and turn it back into a rectangular card like it was before. But it's a little hard to do. These cuts will make them stick together. Will probably stick together a little bit. So unfold it very carefully. Make sure not to break the paper. All right, we have our card there, and our cuts are all done. Now let's see what's going to happen when we stretch it out. Okay, so now we have all our cuts done, And let's unfold this and see if we can pass our entire body through this as if we were a ghost. So first we want to unfold, and then what we're going to do is we're going to stretch this out. Stretch it out, and it should be now a very large ring. You see that? Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can pass through this just like a ghost would. Ooh, spooky, spooky. All right, and I was able to pass my entire body through one small 4x6 index card. All right, now we've finished both our experiments. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what happened here and why these things happened. Okay, so let's start with the zombie straw wrapper. So obviously this straw wrapper didn't actually come to life, but it did wiggle and swiggle like a worm. And why did that happen? Well, the reason why is that paper is actually made up of a bunch of tiny little wood fibers, very, very small little wood fibers, all stuck together to make a piece of paper. Now, those wood fibers have some little spaces in between them, and they also can sometimes absorb water. So when you crush that straw wrapper up together really tight, you are pushing all those wood fibers like right up close against each other, really close. Now when you dribble some water on it, the water is going to soak into that straw wrapper. It's going to go into the little spaces between the wood fibers and fill them up. It's also going to soak into the wood fibers a little bit, which is going to make them expand. So they're going to want to spread out. Unfortunately, they don't really have any room to spread out because remember, we crushed them all together really close together by crushing the wrapper together. So when those wood fibers start to expand, they need space. They push against each other, and that makes the entire straw wrapper stretch out because that's the only way they can get more space to expand. So that's what's happening with the zombie straw wrapper. Now, next, let's talk about the index card ghost. Okay, so let's talk a little bit now about what happened in the index card ghost experiment. So, obviously we didn't turn into a ghost, but what we did here is going to be a lesson in math. So, we started out with an index card that is 4x6. So let's measure that. We see that's 6 inches by 4 inches, right? And 6 by 4 is another way of saying 6 times 4. So this is 24 square inches, this index card. Now, when we cut it up into 1/4 inch strips, we're going to be cutting it up or dividing it into pieces, which means we are going to have to divide. So we're going to divide 6 by 4, 24 inches, square inches. We're going to divide that by 1/4 inch. So that's going to come out to 96 inches, which is about 8 feet. So if we were to cut this in 1/4 inch strips, this entire thing in 1/4 inch strips, and the total length of those would be about 8 feet. Which of course is plenty of room for you to pass your entire body through, right? But ours is probably not actually going to be 8 feet long because our strips may not have been exactly 1/4 inch wide. And also, we have a little bit of paper that we've used to hold the pieces together that are not going to add to the total length. So it will be less than that, but it's still going to be pretty long. So let's stretch this thing out. See how long it is? Okay, so we're going to stretch that out there. And then I'm going to get my handy tape measure. I'm going to stretch it out again. I'm going to see approximately how long this is. So it looks like we're at about 48 inches. That's 4 feet. Oh, it broke. And remember, because it was folded in half when I measured it, you're going to have to double that number. So 48 inches times 2, 48 times 2 is 96. So I really got pretty close to 4 to 8 feet total length, 96 inches. And as you know, 8 feet is going to be plenty of room for you to fit your whole body through. So we use the magic of mathematics to make this work, to turn ourselves into a ghost and to pass through an index card. So that's about it for our STEAM-powered science this time. But if you'd like to learn a little bit more, please feel free to stop by the Whittier Public Library and borrow some books. I have a few examples over here you might want to check out. If you want to learn more about some science experiments about water, we have here super simple things to do with water. We also have one called Creepy Spooky Science if you want some Halloween or scary themed science experiments. Or you could try While You're Waiting for the Food to Come. Of course, you could do your zombie straw wrapper in a restaurant while you're waiting for your food to come. These are some other experiments you can try, perhaps in a restaurant or at home while you're waiting to eat. A couple other things you might want to try if you just want to do some paper activities around having to do with Halloween or spooky themes. You could try horrorigami, learn to do some scary origami. Or we have some stories, of course, you could take home. If you want a book about ghosts, or if you want a book about zombies, you could try No Zombies Allowed. For ghosts, you could try maybe Rattlebone Rock here. Some other things you might want to try if you want to learn more about ghosts or zombies. We have lots of books about ghosts, zombies, witches, and other spooky Halloween themes. So be sure to stop by the Whittier Public Library, check out some books, and keep learning. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you again soon for our next STEAM-powered science. Goodbye.